Good afternoon, everyone. It's about 2:15 on your Friday. We're talking November 28th. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kiel here in the KWQC newsroom at the TV6 News Now desk. KWQC News Now desk, one of those two. But hey, you get the idea. We're Channel 6, and we're on our live stream as well as YouTube and Facebook to give you the latest updates on the winter storm that is headed our way later tonight and especially here on Saturday. A very high impact weather event heading our way. This is the first widespread accumulating snow of the season, and it is certainly going to pack a punch here across eastern Iowa and western Illinois. So we've got that first alert day that is in effect, or will go into effect at midnight and continue through the day on Saturday. We're talking heavy snow, blowing snow even into Sunday. Not so much blowing snow, maybe some drifting snow as well. Those snowfall totals have gone up here over the last 24 hours. We're talking widespread 8 to potentially 12 inches of snow. And yes, we have that plus on there because there could be a few areas that do get a little more than a foot of snowfall as we have a lot of moisture associated here with this system. So we're going to get into the details of this coming up here in just a few minutes. But the bottom line here, no matter you get, even if we were to get 4 inches of snow, 6, 8, 12 inches of snow, the impacts are the same. Travel is expected to be very dangerous here as we head into the day on your Saturday. So let's look at the winter storm impacts. Notice it's a major impact here across eastern Iowa and western Illinois. And really, this is going to be a pretty big impact here for most of the Midwest. We'll take these graphics full so you can get a better view of this. If you're on Facebook, I will get to your questions here in just a few minutes. I know a lot of you want to see the latest snowfall map, and we will get to that. But yes, the bottom line is major impacts expected here, not only across our viewing area, but also across the Midwest. So here's a look at the next 24 hours. Hey, things looking really good out there as we take a look at our Rock Island camera overlooking the Mississippi River. Nothing but sunshine, but those clouds will be on the increase here as we head into the evening hours. And then after 9 or 10 o'clock, we will start to see the snow move in from west to east across the TV6 viewing area. And that snow is going to continue here as we head overnight and into the morning. And some of that snow could be moderate to heavy at times. So this is what we're going to be tracking here as we head throughout the next 24 to 36 hours or so. And I want you to take note of those temperatures. They're in the 20s here to start the snow event. So that means that we could see snowfall rates up to an inch, inch and a half per hour. And it'll be kind of on the fluffier side at first and then start to become more of a wetter snow here as we head into Saturday afternoon before temperatures start to cool down again heading into Saturday evening. So we're going to continue to track this here as we head over the next 24 to 36 hours. So here's a look at what's going on right now. Things are nice and quiet, starting to see some clouds around Burlington, Mount Pleasant, even up toward Wapello. Notice those clouds are continuing to increase from west to east. I think this initial band of snow here in south central Iowa, not quite reaching the ground, but you get into western Iowa, there is starting to be some indications of some light snow as our low pressure continues to strengthen as it ejects east out of the Rockies. And what's going on ahead of this is that we're seeing that flow from the south. The Gulf is open for business, as we like to say, and that is going to lead to ample amounts of moisture coming in from the Gulf, and that's going to feed into the system. And with that cold air in place, that leads to the snowfall as opposed to rainfall. So this is looking like an all-snow event here across the TV6 viewing area. So there's that storm we're highlighting right now. It will continue to strengthen. It'll track a little off to the south and east before it starts to move off to the north and east and kind of track over our area here heading into tomorrow. So with that low pressure track over our area, that kind of sets us up for the heaviest snow out of this event. So our area likely will see some of those higher totals across this entire event. So here's a look at exact track. This evening, early this evening, we will have quiet conditions across the viewing area, but as we head into the overnight hours between 9 and midnight, that's when we will start to see that snow move in from west to east, and that snow is going to continue overnight into the early morning hours. You'll notice the darker blues. That does indicate some heavier snow across the region. And pardon me real quick. Pardon my cough there. But we've got the idea that there is going to be some heavy snow continuing here through the morning hours into the early afternoon. Snowfall might lighten up just a bit at times during the afternoon, but there are some indications, especially in our southern hometowns, that'll be closer to the track of the low, where we could see another round of some enhanced snow as we head into the early evening hours before this all starts to wrap up probably around midnight or so. You kind of see that counterclockwise flow. That's that low pressure moving through the area. So by 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, the snow will be over with, but notice those northwest winds Since this storm has come in a little bit more on the stronger side, we are talking about a stronger pressure gradient, so that means stronger winds. So that's going to blow some of that snow around, especially in those rural areas and especially farther north, where those cooler temperatures will get into the system a little bit earlier than the rest of us. So again, these northwest winds Sunday are going to make for a very brutal day with that fresh snow on the ground. We're talking high temperatures only getting into the lower 20s with wind chills much colder than that. So there's a look at the snowfall forecast here. Again, widespread, we are going to see 8 to as much as 12 inches of snow. I want you to take note around areas like Galesburg, Macomb, Burlington. Those exact areas might not get over a foot of snow, but that just goes to show you an indication of that potential of some enhanced snowfall totals above 1 foot. So we're going to continue to watch where these heavier bands of snow set up. But again, the idea here are the impacts, not necessarily the amount of snow that you're going to get. So travel is going to be very dangerous here across the viewing area as we head into the daytime hours on Saturday. Even into Sunday morning, the crew should be able to have time to maybe catch up with the roads here. But you'll just want to make sure you tune into Quad Cities today, Sunday morning, because they will be showing you the latest road conditions here after this snow event, and we'll have obviously the latest snowfall reports out of this as well. But over the next few minutes, I kind of want to go a little bit behind the scenes of the weather forecasting. This is a look at some of the model runs indicating the amount of snowfall at the airport in Moline. Basically, this model is only, supposed to go up to 6 or 7 inches. So all of these are off the chart here, but you'll notice that the lowest snowfall amount on here is 9.2 inches. So it ranges from 9.2 inches to as much as 12.3 inches. This does not take really into account the whole column of the atmosphere, if you will. So what happens is, what's going to enhance these snowfall totals is the fact that we'll have below freezing temperatures above us where the snowflakes really grow and intensify. It's called the dendritic growth zone. It's going to be completely saturated. Like I mentioned, we have a lot of moisture available. Models are coming in with about 0.8 of an inch to more than an inch of moisture available. So basically what this means is if we had all of this snow and melted it down, it would be the equivalent of about an inch of water. So that's what we're looking at here as far as those snowfall rates go into the afternoon hours. So I want to take a look at the probability of snowfall here. This is a product from the Weather Prediction Center from NOAA, and this basically is guaranteeing everyone over an inch of snow, and I'm going to continue this up to 4 inches because that's pretty much a guarantee across the viewing area. This light red shading here, I know it's hard to see on the legend, that is indicative of 90 to 95%, and then 95 to pretty much a guarantee here in that maroon color. We go to 6 inches of snow. That all is encompassing the viewing area, basically a greater than 80% chance of that happening. We go to 8 inches, and this is what's really kind of been fascinating today, for lack of a better word, or I guess why we're more inclined to say at least 8 inches of snow. It's a greater than 70% chance across the TV6 viewing area for at least 8 inches of snowfall. So that's why we're going for that 8 to 12 inch range. We'll go to 12 plus inches of snow. That gets a little bit less here as you go a little farther south, but there are some indications that there could be some heavier banding across our southern hometowns. So that's why we're just doing a blanket 8 to 12 inches. But this blue shading is about a 40 to 50% chance. You get the light blue shading, that's about a 50 to 60% chance, and then so on. And then just for curiosity's sakes, I'm going to pull up the 18 inches plus. That obviously is not likely to happen, but this green shading here from the Quad Cities Muscatine points off to the west, that is about a 10 to 20% chance of that happening. So that does indicate that there is that possibility for greater than a foot of snowfall. So that's kind of the bottom line that we're looking at here. I'm going to go back to, I think, the weather graphics here. There we go. I'm learning how to work this system here. Wanted to put this all into perspective here. So far, we've had a trace of snow at the airport in Moline. This is where we keep all of our climate records, all of our snowfall measurements are taken here. This is where the rainfall is measured as well. So far this year, and this happened earlier in the month, we had a trace of snow. And normally by this point in time, we should have about 2 inches, and that's about the normal for the month of November in total. So we talk about the snowiest season, which runs from July to June, just for climate purposes. That was 69.7 inches set back in 1974 and 1975. The least snowiest, as we've been mentioning, was last winter season. The airport only had 8.2 inches of snow for the entire season. So we're going to get that in just this winter storm plus some. So that just goes to show you the difference that 2 seasons can make. Hopefully this is not, at least for those of you who don't like the snow, hopefully this is not a sign of the winter to come. But things do look a little more active here as we head into December. So I wanted to take a look at the least snowy seasons. Obviously that was last year, and then you had to go back to 1936 and 1937 for the least snowiest at 9.9 inches. So we kind of blew that out of the water. With this fresh snow on the ground, that's going to lead to obviously some colder temperatures, and that's going to be the trend really through the middle of December. We are trending cooler than average, and yes, it could get a little bit wetter than average here, especially the northern part of the United States. So that's going to be something that we do continue to track, but I'm going to go back to a couple of graphics here. I'm going to go to the snowfall forecast while I go through some of the comments here, because this is what you all are tuning in for, and really this has not changed much from the first alert forecast last night. It's generally been that 8 to 12 inch category. The only difference here is that we are looking at maybe a few locations that could get maybe 13 or 14 inches of snowfall. So I'm going to go through some of the comments here. Amy, Springfield, Illinois, I think will be a little bit less snow, probably more in that 5 to 8, maybe 9 inch range. I know down towards Springfield and central Illinois, that's where we're going to get a little bit of warmer air to wrap around, which could lead to that wintry mix of maybe some rain and snow and kind of cut down on those totals there. Also, temperatures obviously going to be a few degrees warmer, so it might be a little hard for that snow to stick initially. So that's what we're looking at there. Megan is asking about the time for Clinton. It should start near after midnight tonight, Amy, and then continue until, or I should say Megan, I'm sorry, and continue until about midnight or shortly after that. You're heading into early Sunday morning. Chucky is asking about Sterling, Illinois getting 14 inches. 8 to 12 inches is the forecast with locally higher amounts, so 14 is not out of the question. That's for sure. It'll be interesting to see how this event starts, because right now soil temperatures, they're definitely in the 30s. Road temperatures are a little warmer than that, but with temperatures dipping down, into the teens and 20s tonight and staying cold tomorrow, that pavement is going to cool quickly. And as that snow falls, it's going to cool the atmosphere and the ground as well. So that's why we're thinking that snow will accumulate pretty quickly, I think. And especially because it'll be kind of a fluffier snow as that snow begins tonight with those temperatures in the 20s. It will accumulate a little quickly. So again, we could see snowfall rates upwards of 1 inch plus per hour. So that's why we're going to see, again, this is a 24-hour duration event. Now, when I say 1 inch plus per hour, this might only be a few hours. It's not going to be straight inch plus per hour over the next 24 hours. Otherwise, we'd have some even bigger issues here. But yeah, so Brandon says that recent high-resolution models like the HER and 3K NAM are aggressive with snowfall totals. Yes, they are. So Brandon, he's talking about some models coming in. Again, this is why we mention that we don't really like to talk about the snowfall totals so far in advance, and that's because a lot can change between in just a few days, and really over the last couple of days, things certainly have changed. You scroll through your Facebook feed and any of your social feeds, and you've been coming across these models that just show, it's essentially raw output that are showing crazy numbers. I mean, it is impossible to predict down to the 10th of an inch how much snow is going to fall out of an event. I wish that we could, but that's why we show you the range on the first alert snowcast there, because we can't say Davenport you're going to get 7.9 inches of snow. It just is impossible to do that. So when you see someone posting that raw output, there's not really a lot taken into account as far as the science that's going on behind it as well. So that's why you have to have meteorologists to kind of go over that data and kind of go behind the scenes to figure out exactly what is going to go on. But the one thing for sure is that, again, the one thing that's making me feel more inclined to go on the higher end of these totals is the fact that we're going to have that Gulf moisture. There's nothing stopping that moisture coming up with that low pressure. That low pressure is going to pull that moisture up from the Gulf, and that's what's going to lead to those intense snow bands. So that's why I do think that we could see snowfall rates in excess of 1 inch per hour at times. So pretty widespread event for eastern Iowa. This will be the heaviest snow since probably the beginning of 2024, I think, and this will probably be one of our higher end November snowfalls on record. Again, normally November only sees a couple of inches of snow, and I believe January is normally our snowiest month, so we'll have to see how the rest of the season plays out. But Brandon, you bring up a good point. You kind of latched on to the idea of why I'm going, or why we as a team are going from 8 to 12 inches. As far as thunder snow goes, I'm going to be honest, I haven't quite looked into any convection with this. I don't think it's a high chance, but something that we'll certainly watch. Megan is asking about the southern part of the viewing area. Again, I'm going to pull this map up a little larger here. I'm sorry, I have the wrong mouse. And it's widespread 8 to 12 inches of snowfall. So I'll leave this map up a little bit. This is an area-wide event. So as you can see, there's some different colors here on the map that just shows where those heavier bands of snow pop up. So that's going to be where we kind of have to pin down where those heavier bands of snow. Cynthia is asking about the amount of snow by 6 a.m. Saturday morning around Galesburg, trying to figure out if I need to make plans for work tomorrow morning. You know what, I'll take a look at that here on my other source. Probably at least an inch or two by early tomorrow morning there for Galesburg. I would just, if you absolutely do have to travel, I know a lot of you have no choice and you have to work. I think that you just need to allow yourself plenty of time to get from point A to point B. And, just use your best judgment. But let's see, by 6 a.m., I would say 1 to perhaps 3 inches of snowfall there in Galesburg. So it's going to add up pretty quickly here through the morning hours on your Saturday here. So I'm going to go through a few of these comments in. And right now, as we speak, there is going to be, we do have updated guidance coming in. Around the 1 o'clock hour, that's usually when they start to feed in. They don't have the latest, balloon data from the weather balloons, but it just is interesting to see it through the trends. So we'll be updating that forecast. Eric Maitland is going over that now. Steven's asking about thunder snow possible. We'll have to watch and see. Again, I was saying earlier, I haven't quite looked at that aspect of it, but certainly if there is thunder snow, that would enhance these totals quite a bit as well. Mark asks a good question. Will there be drifting in open areas? That answer is yes, that is a possibility, especially with those winds picking up 20 to 30 miles per hour during the daytime hours tomorrow, and even into Sunday as well. That's going to, the wind will be an issue here as we head into Sunday. Chucky's asking, Sterling, what time will you get the snow? Probably after 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning here heading into Sunday morning. Princeton, Iowa, you think 10 to 12 inches? Yeah, that's a good bet. I think, again, we're going 8 to 12. A lot of these numbers on here, have 10 to 12, 12 to 14. This will likely adjust a little bit here as we head through the evening hours, but really we're just kind of blanketing the entire area of that 8 to 12 inch range. Whether you get 12 inches, whether you get 8 inches, that does not change the impacts. Travel will be difficult. That snow will be blowing around just a bit. Maybe it's not going to be the driest of snow, not going to be the wettest of snow either. It'll be kind of in between, but we will just have to watch. We'll have to watch for that potential of maybe a little drifting in those rural areas. Miguel says he's starting his time lapse. That'll be a cool time lapse to see. Excuse me. Keith is asking, why did the heavy snow total shift a little bit more south? That's because of storm tracking just a little bit more south. So that's kind of been the situation over the last couple of days, is that we've kind of seen this shift from north to south a little bit. And that's what happens here when you have developing storm systems. We get new data in, and it's suggesting that maybe there's just a little bit of shift on the heaviest snow. So that's why the entire area is under that winter storm warning. And that winter storm warning will continue into Sunday. Steve is asking, Colorado Springs to Davenport travel. If it's tomorrow, you're going to have some problems getting to Davenport, that's for sure. You'll want to check with your airline, or if you're driving, definitely check the road conditions. But tomorrow travel is not going to be very easy. It's going to be very difficult here across the area. Car is asking the start time in Dubuque, probably about midnight or so. We'll kind of go to the start time here, and I'll kind of move this forward so you can see between 9 and midnight that snow starts to move in. It's really going to be after midnight where we start getting those heavier snowfall rates to move into the area. So Caitlin asking some good advice there. So let's see, I'll go through a couple more questions here, and then yes, Miguel, shovels should be ready. Shovels, snow blower, any snow removal gear. I know we have somehow misplaced our ice scraper in our vehicle, so we had to go get one of those today. So definitely preparing for that. But I'm going to show this one more time for those of you who are just tuning into the stream, because I'm about to log off here. By the way, you can go watch this back here on Facebook or our website. And Chief Meteorologist Eric Maitland is going to do another one of these probably around 8 o'clock this evening. So we're going to continue to keep you updated on the latest information. And obviously we have all of this information posted on our website, kwqc.com. You can download the First Alert Weather app and download our news app as well. So we'll go back to this double box here and check and see if there's any more comments. And it doesn't look like there are, but I do appreciate you all for joining us. Hopefully you're getting your last minute errands complete today before the snow moves in, because again, any plans tomorrow to travel on the roads, it is going to be difficult. I know just before I came over here to the desk, we did get an email that the Festival of Trees has canceled festivities for tomorrow due to the inclement weather and obviously that major impact winter storm. I think the word is getting out. A lot of cities have issued snow emergencies, so you can get a full list of those on kwqc.com. Make sure your car is not parked anywhere where it could get towed, because those cities don't mess around with that. These plows need the space to clear the roadways, that is for sure. So once again, I appreciate you all joining us here at the TV6 News Now desk. And like I said, we're going to update the First Alert forecast here. We've got some new data coming in, and we'll have the latest updates on our evening newscast as well as on our website. And we'll, of course, have team coverage all weekend long. The First Alert Weather team as well as our news department will be hard at work to keep you updated on the latest winter weather information. Thank you so much for joining us today.